Captain Price and Lieutenant Burridge from the guards at Chelsea Barracks will be your chaperones.
Chaperones?
They will escort you to the Ritz and stay with you all night long.
Ma'am, we are honoured by this great and sacred charge. Lieutenant Burridge?
Deeply, ma'am. Inexpressibly.
I'm sure you will have a wonderful time under their close and scrupulous supervision. Understood?
Yes, Mummy.
Back by midnight.
Midnight? That's not fair.
Come on, darling. Peace begins at midnight. We'd like you to be out there watching us in the crowd. Lilibet, I want to know how they all really feel at that moment. 1 o'clock, not a minute later. Margaret?
Best behaviour. Honestly.
And that's a clip from A Royal Night Out. It stars, amongst many other people, Emily Watson. Emily, good afternoon.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank
Nice
you.
to have you on the show again.
It's a pleasure.
I do think the title of the movie is a bit like a Wallace and Gromit film, don't you?
It is, yeah. But then there's not that... I guess it has something in common with a Wallace and Gromit film. It's sort of
You know that
lightness of touch.
That's
and fun.
actually true, actually,
Yeah,
all the way through it. So therefore the title is actually entirely appropriate because it does, you think, oh, this is going to be quite fun.
Yeah, that's
And it
exactly
is.
what it is. It's frothy and fun.
And you play Queen Elizabeth,
The Queen
Mother.
Yeah.
And the King is Rupert Everett, who is just delightful.
He's glorious, isn't he?
My guess is you're having a fabulous time. Anyway, just tell us about the premise for A Royal Night Out.
Well, we know for a fact that Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret mingled with the crowd on VE Day at night and went down into the crowd. And then we know that they went out. They had a night out, but nobody knows what happened. And this is a kind of wishful thinking fantasy version of that. Very respectful, but...
Yeah, but it's a fantastic premise. I suppose the anniversary of VE Day is the moment to release it. But given that basic premise that, first of all, it happened. Secondly, no one really knows what happened.
Yeah.
That's a terrific basis
It's
to start. It's
tantalising, isn't it? I mean, it has something in common with Roman Holiday, I guess, in that it is Princess Elizabeth is incognito and unrecognised for a whole night out in London, and that's rather a delicious fact in itself. But it also has and Princess Margaret kind of running amok in Trafalgar Square and in the fountains and having too many cocktails and getting lost on a bus.
She's like 14 or 15
yes.
at this point.
Yes. I don't think we ever actually refer to her age. It is, the whole thing is pretty fanciful.
Yes, but are you sort of 17, 18 years old, that kind of thing, 18, 19?
Elizabeth is, yes. Yeah.
Yes, obviously not the Queen Mother.
I think she was...
So that's the difference. So it's Lilibet, it's Princess Elizabeth who is the one who is assumed is going to steer things through.
Yes. Well, they get sort of separated by accident pretty early on, and ended up on separate buses going in different directions. And a night of merry hell ensues.
And right at the very beginning, we have Winston Churchill. We had some great archive sequences of VE Day, an extraordinary day anyway. And there's been obviously lots in the press these last few days. But Winston Churchill says, and I quote, "There will be a brief period of rejoicing."
Yes, don't spend too much money.
It has been designated how long you will spend. But clearly the country was completely spent and exhausted. And here's this party which takes place amongst the ruins of London. But it was a wild night.
I think there was you can tell from the footage, from the original footage, that there was a sense of euphoria that we couldn't even begin to imagine what that's like. I mean, if you've been being blitzed, bombed on a regular basis for that length of time, the lights have been out. You haven't been able to put a light on at night unless you were blacked out for 4 years or however long it was. The sense of liberation must have been extraordinary. My grandparents told the story of my grandfather had been away on the Navy, I think hadn't been home for years. And on VE Day, my grandparents met on Waterloo Bridge, and they saw the lights come on over St Paul's, the V for Victory lights over St Paul's, and they ran all the way there. They ran from Waterloo Bridge to St Paul's, which is a considerable distance. And in St Paul's Cathedral, there was an impromptu performance of the Alleluia chorus, and everybody joined in, and that was their experience. But I think there's something even though the film is really, really fun and it's kind of fanciful, there is a sense of the young Princess Elizabeth, and there's a sense of the woman that we know today, who is, her overriding sense of duty, and that her call to duty is quite a powerful, resonant thing, and the sense of sadness about her dad as well, of how how much he could have carried on and lived, and obviously didn't.
And some lovely scenes where she's out in the pub listening to her father making the speech to mark the end of the war, which is very touching. Just explain a bit about you as the Queen Mother and how you go about playing this role. Do you watch? I mean, do you know enough about the Queen Mother anyway to know how she speaks and how she held herself? And
actually, there's not that much footage of her speaking. There is some, and when around this time when she spoke, she had a really quite extraordinarily strong accent of kind of posh, basically, just very.
It's sort of
nasal.
RP and then some.
Indeed, which we didn't we toned down a bit because I think people wouldn't really relate to it. But even so, it's just lovely fun doing that stuff, just being immensely, crusty and posh. It just gives you a sense of status, and I know Rupert and I had a ball.
Yes.
We had an absolute ball.
Well,
tottering about as king and queen.
I think you could. Hey, you got to enjoy it. If you're cast, then go for it. Absolutely, queen for the moment. And there's a scene where, and who knows whether this is anything like what happened, where the king, who is very loving and affectionate, but also very powerful man, clearly, where you're all arguing as to whether the princesses are allowed to go out for the evening, and it's like an ordinary family conversation. In fact, the king is interrupted while rehearsing his speech by Princess Elizabeth.
Yes, it's a bit of a family spat going on, but the subject is that we do not go out in public. We might be recognised. And, it's like a bit like the conversations that most teenage girls have with their dad. You're not going out in that. Yes, I am. But it's at a whole other level.
Yes. There's a scene. I mean, I suppose there is no such thing as a spoiler for a movie like this, but there's a scene with you and Rupert Everett on the balcony.
Yes. Yes. It's quite fun.
Doing the wave. And I think your line is...
I could murder a gin and tonic. Yes, which is sort of an iconic image. I guess I don't think she was ever actually photographed with her gin and tonic, but she was just renowned for her gin and tonics, wasn't she?
Yes, I just wonder whether that's a spitting image caricature or whether that's what we're...
Maybe that's my subliminal influence. Yeah, I grew up with spitting image. Maybe that's what it is.
And of course, I do have to ask, what with you being an OBE and everything, and today is Palace Day.
Today actually happens to be Palace Day, yes.
Very excited. You'll get a chance to find out precisely what everybody thinks about it.
She's going to say.
Because you didn't actually film in Buckingham Palace, did you?
No, we didn't. Chatsworth and Belvoir Castle, apparently that's how you say it. I can't think.
Yes, it is Belvoir Castle. And then the rest of it is filmed in Hull. So
yes, Belvoir Castle in Hull.
But congratulations on the movie and congratulations on the OBE.
Why, thank you.
Did you not once, quite a few years ago, write a screenplay about a World War II
I did,
drama?
Yes.
I just wonder if this is just a period in time which is of interest to you anyway.
Absolutely. I think both world wars in a way, the stakes have never been higher. And it's an extraordinary time to set a drama of any kind. Like I said, that sense of euphoria when the war came to an end, I don't think has ever been matched. I can't think of an event, a national event, where there has been such strength of feeling, like that in my lifetime. When the whole world is, pitted at war, it's, humanity's hanging in the balance. It's very, very dramatic, I guess.
And was it Mood Indigo?
Mood Indigo, yes. It was a story set in the Battle of Britain about a young pilot and a young girl who worked in radio direction finding, which is early radar. Beautiful story. Of course, never got made.
Is writing or directing or getting more involved in production, is that something that has interested you?
Yeah, it has a lot in the past. I'm sort of in the throes of a fairly young family, so that getting involved in producing a film or writing a film or being involved behind the scenes is an immensely time-consuming business. So that kind of is a little bit on the back burner at the moment.
So do you like to take movies, because The Theory of Everything was such a stunning success, but movies where you can come in, do your bit. It's not relying on you giving all the time that like months and months and months of
Absolutely. I mean, I will do those when they come along and they're good ones, and I will do them, and that's it's how I love doing that, and I will kind of make everybody's life difficult to do that. And I've recently done a piece for the BBC called Song for Jenny, which was incredibly difficult and involving and very, very taxing. But a lot of the time, that's what I like to do, is just do a small little slice of fun close to home.
Yes.
And go home and be mum.
And one of our favourite films of last year was Belle, and Amara Santi, who's
yeah.
been on the show. But those kind of projects are fabulous, and she's brilliant. And,
she's a very, very smart lady.
And what a top film. But I
Great.
wonder if the leading lady is going to return.
I get her out less frequently, I think, because it's just very, very hard when you've got a young family, and just to do that all the time is it's invariably away somewhere abroad or somewhere difficult.
Somewhere annoying.
No, not annoying. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's been an amazing life with a lot of incredible travel in it, but it's just a lot harder to do when your kids are in school, and so I do less of that now.
And this is the season for the Cannes Film Festival. Of course, a lot of people love it. Mark absolutely loathes it. You made quite an impact when you went. The first, was it 96 for Breaking the Waves?
Yes, 96. Yes.
And you hadn't done anything.
No, I had never given an interview. I had never done any press. I literally signed off the dole to make that film.
Is it Lars von Trier? So you've gone to Cannes, and he
doesn't turn up. So it's me and the other actors sitting in a press conference facing the world's press for that movie. I think I'm sort of scarred for life. Although, I mean, the movie was a sensation, yes, and it transformed my life. I mean, it gave me a film career and massive opportunities. But that was a very, very powerful, slightly traumatic experience.
Yes. Does it make you want to go back to Cannes, or are you quite happy to think, no?
I've been back a few times. The whole film festival thing is incredibly intense and incredibly. There's something about Cannes, which is, it feels like it is the high holy altar of film, and there's something very precious and special about that. But then there's a lot of stuff surrounding that. I mean, it's the biggest media circus outside the Olympics, I think, that there is. It's a kind of crazy, febrile atmosphere that is just does your head in.
It does sound absolutely terrifying. Never done a movie before, never done an interview before, and there you are, you're fronting the Lars von Trier movie at Cannes. Has there been any interview, including this one, which has been more scary since then?
No, I was truly terrified and sort of didn't really know what I was doing. I was sort of mostly scared of making a fool of myself and saying things that people wouldn't believe, or I just had no idea what was going on, to be honest. And I woke up in the morning and looked at the newspapers, and on all the French newspapers had pictures of me on the front. It was very shocking.
Well, it's a slightly more straightforward role for a Royal Night Out,
yes.
Emily, but great fun. Laugh out loud funny in places, particularly you and Rupert Everett. I must say, I'd quite like to see more of you two.
Me and Rupert. This is the second film we've done together. We did have an enormous amount of fun doing it. Rupert is very scurrilous and quite
you
outrageous.
kind of get that in between
yes.
takes. He's making the filthiest jokes, which
he
we
certainly
don't
is.
see.
Yes.
Emily Watson, thank you very much for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.